guys, this is Carrie with Fullerton Professional Organizing, and today we're going to talk about someone by the name of Taylor Flannery. Taylor teaches 7 mindsets for taking care of the basic physical and safety needs of those living in your home by implementing systems and routines. Implementing these mindsets will help you find systems that work for you without excessive effort so you can get more done and move on to enjoy the rest of your life. So we're going to talk about her, and she has her information about Household Management 101. And I will give you her info about that. But let's go over some of what she says about mindsets that might help in managing their home. Now, from what I understand about her, she did go to school to be a lawyer. And she does do a lot in the community, and because she has children, she's very involved with children's lives. So she came up with this because she had a very, very busy life. But let's see here. She starts off saying that the basic physical and safety needs of the people who live in your house, and that includes yourself, and then that includes other people, is what household management, what she considers household management. She says it is a partnership. As far as she doesn't want anyone to think that just because she talks about mindsets on household management that you should do it all on your own. That she does want you to teach your children and family how to help around the house, but these are things that have helped her. She says focus on the foundations. Basically what she said, this is her talking. And basically what I'm talking about is making sure all of that stuff gets done so that we have a good foundation to our life. We're eating good food, we have clean clothes, we have a clean place, relatively clean place to live. You need a place to live and thrive. You don't need a perfect home to live and thrive. She says focus on foundations and the basic physical and safety needs of the people that live in your house, systems and routines that we do repeatedly and consistently. She says eat every single day. We're going to need to do some meal planning, and we're going to need to do some cooking, and we're going to need to do some cleanup every day, because it's all kind of a rhythm and a cycle. All right. And a good mindset will keep you from being resentful. She says it's this mindset that you have is a set of beliefs that shape how you approach a task or challenge in life, and it's really important because it influences how you think, how you feel, and how you behave in certain situations. She believes it's important to make your mindset help you think, feel, and behave in ways that make you happier, fulfilled, instead of unhappy, stressed out, mad, resentful, or anything like that. Anything negative, all those negative thoughts about that you would have housework. And it's different for everyone. She says You're going to feel less overwhelmed by your household management tasks, and you're going to learn how to behave in ways that help you find the systems and routines that work for you, because everybody's systems and routines are going to be different because your lifestyle is different, your busyness is different. If you go on church, you're not going to have that time to spend on your house, so you've got to figure out how to work those routines into your activities. It's different depending on your situation, your personality, the time involved that you have, what else is going on. So you've got to figure out what works best for you, which could be different than someone else. And then I figure it out, because it take less total time to do these things. She's just saying figure out what works for you so that it doesn't take for all day, and and it'll fit into your schedule. She says your goal is to enjoy life. She wants you to use these mindsets to help you learn how to do what works, and then be able to move on and get to the rest of your life and enjoy the rest of your life. She says mindsets are like puzzle pieces. Now that you're going to notice is that some of them are going to be pretty overlapping, and that is okay. She says, number one is household management is a learnable skill. You don't have to be born organized, but it can be learned. So the first mindset that I want you to know, she says, about this is that the most fundamental is that this household management is a learnable skill. It's not beyond you, and with effort and with practice on your part, you can make a huge positive difference in your everyday life. Now, some people have these skills down. So naturally, this is for those that are still learning how to manage all the things and manage their household. She says growth is empowering, and that's with anything. Instead, understanding that you can learn these things is so empowering, and that it's really very true, because just because you don't know something now, or maybe it's not going as well as you think it should go, that you want it to in your household management tasks, but it can be learned. And she says, focus on what you want. So my point is, she says that for anybody that is feeling like they're struggling with household management, you're probably going to need to focus a little bit more on what the habits and routines and systems that you want to put into place are, because right now, the ones you're using, whether it's accidentally or subconsciously put into place, are not working properly. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. She also, number 2, says progress, not perfection. Don't get tied up in, okay, now I'm going to have a clean, perfectly clean home all the time, every day, all the time. And all I have to do is do all of this. She says, don't do that. We need to accept that perfect isn't possible. Now, and that is in everything, in every part of your life. It's not possible until God calls us to heaven. It isn't going to be possible to be perfect. And I can bet you in heaven, we're not going to have to worry about whether we have a perfectly clean home or not once we get to heaven. Now, number 3, better than before. It's just got to be better than before. Let go of perfection helps us feel better. It's very empowering, but it's also actually leads to more functionality in your home, because it gives you permission to try and to improve, which leads to the next mindset that we have of striving for things to be better than they are. Just our goal is to be better. That's the same with our health. Instead of making those elaborate New Year's resolutions in January. Maybe our resolutions should just be working on being a better person, a healthier person, eating healthier, just being one step or two steps better than the year before. I had to add that in. All right. Now, better than before can be this tiny little bit better than before. You can't change everything at once. So often we think we want to get everything completely fixed in your home, and you're going to declutter and you're going to organize and you're going to start doing the laundry, and I'm going to cook amazing meals and I'm going to do all these things and I'm going to do it all today, and it's going to be like complete 180 degrees from what you were doing, right? No. Small changes lead to big results. And that's also why whenever I talk to you about decluttering and organizing, if you are overwhelmed, then the best thing to do is start with the smallest thing you can start with. Maybe it's just trash. Maybe it's just stained and broken items. Maybe it's just a small drawer, a small cabinet, or something, or a shelf. And then you can build on that. But small changes lead to big results. But what is happening right now, those habits and routines and systems maybe just aren't working. It's not that you are a failure, but those systems aren't working for you. You have to find one that is right for your personality and the activities in your own home. Good enough is good enough. The next mindset, that's the next mindset. And so this kind of opposite way to look at things, like if we were looking at the front of progress, not perfection and better than before, we are now looking at the same idea but from the back, which is, I want you to understand the good enough is good enough. Once you've figured out a system that does work for you, you don't necessarily need to keep tweaking it unless it's not working. I want us to keep improving. I want us to keep making progress. I want us to make things better than they were before until it's working. So once something's working, stop improving it. Don't get hung up again on perfecting. When it is working, just let it work, because we want to keep improving things and then focus on something else once it's working well enough. Doing this small change really makes a huge difference. When the system works, move on to another. Keep doing what's working and focus on something else. I hope it really does, because I want you to stop improving once it's working. All right, we've already said that. Have a bias towards action. Now it's time to stop improving the system and do the system, right? We're talking about the way we think about things and how that does impact how we behave and how we feel, etc. So I don't want you to overthink, is basically what I'm saying. Instead, don't overthink. Instead, act. She also says the stakes are not that high. Let's try to do the laundry at night and see if that works better than trying to do it on the weekends. Like, I'm going to try a one load a day system and see if that works better for me than trying to do it all on the weekend. Now, that's what worked for me. I used to do it all on the weekend, and I'd spend all Sunday afternoon folding laundry. Well, it did work for me, But when I discovered that my son can do one load a week of his own laundry, my husband could do one load a week of his own laundry, and I could do one load a week of my own laundry, which, I didn't discover until the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, I was afraid, not afraid, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't carrying COVID to my family. So I didn't wait till the weekend to do all the laundry for the whole family. We all took responsibility for our own laundry, and then the load was small because we were washing it every week instead of waiting until we have worn most of our clean clothes and wanted clean clothes. Now I only have just enough underwear to get me through the week. I have just enough socks to get me through the week. I have just enough. Now I do have more clothes, but now instead of waiting till 2 weeks or 3 weeks to do laundry, I have better habits, which is what I should have been doing in the first place, because now I've discovered you do one load of laundry and you can fold it in 2 minutes while you're standing there at the dryer and then go and hang it up quickly. I know it's something that I probably should have learned many, many years ago, but that's why we do what we do. This is why I am a professional organizer, because not everyone has the skills, and we've already talked about it. All these skills are learned, but they're also learned with practice. Did I wash my laundry? Yes, but I waited until I needed something to wear before I washed all the laundry, and I washed everybody's together. And that takes time too, because then you've got to sort everything. Sort all the socks. I got tired of sorting socks. All right, so let's go back to what was her to Taylor Flannery and see what else she has to tell us. Learn by doing. And so if the laundry system that you're doing right now is not working for you, then find a way, try another system and try another system. The stakes are not that high. It's not the end of the world. You just keep trying systems until you find one that is less complicated and that works for you and your family. And you're going to find systems that are going to work for different seasons of your life. If you have little babies, you're going to be doing a lot of laundry. But as they get older and can start doing parts of it themselves and then all of it themselves, it's going to get easier. And so she says, I want you to learn by doing, because then you can see that what really works, because we also sometimes have these ideas and we're like, yeah, that would totally work because that worked for this person. Or we might even think for ourselves, this would totally work for me, and we give it a try and it doesn't work. There are many ways to get it right. Do not be afraid of failure. Instead, if you try something and it doesn't work, instead going back to that mindset of, I don't know how to do this, so I'll just give up. Don't give up. A small tweak or something like that, and you can see if that works better. Just sometimes it just takes a small change to make it work. I read a book where a lady cooked the same type of meal, not every week. It was like chicken, beef, tacos, pizza, and it was the same thing on that day, and that worked for me, except for on some days when I had maybe softball practice for my kids or some kind of sporting event. So I had to tweak it to work for the situation and the season that I was in. Um, and remember your why, or find your why. The Let's see, and that is another thing. Finding your why is what you need to find when you start your own business. Why are you starting your own business? Why would anyone want to hire you? Why do you want a clean house, etc.? I want you to look inside yourself, and I want you to remember the why of what you're trying to accomplish. Here in doing household management and improving that for yourself and for the rest of your family. Why are you doing that? Now, here are some things she says are possible reasons why. Self-care could be a good reason why. I want self-care because you want and deserve to live in a space where you have clean underwear, nice food to eat, you're not tripping over things, where I can find my keys in the morning. Also, you want to do these types of things for your family. That you have to be the only, but you don't have to be the only one doing things right. You can teach your children. Your children can learn how to be functional human beings and adults at some point. And so not only do I want them to live in a home where they are feeling like their basic physical and safety needs are being met, that they but that they do have clean underwear, that they do have food, and they are tripping over things, that the bathroom's relatively clean, these types of things, right? But I want them to learn how to do it on their own. So part of my why is raising my children to learn how to do these things as well. So when they are able to help, and they are able to help when they have families of their own. So I feel like ultimately for me, my why of household management is because it is a way to show myself and those around me care and concern. Also, it could be as simple as this is stressing me out, or I am overwhelmed. Remind yourself often, once you figure out your why, and you remind yourself of that on a regular basis, that is going to help you as you do the things like all that bias towards action that we talked about, where you actually have to get down to the nitty gritty and do the things like the load of laundry or cleaning the bathroom or supervising your children and teaching them how to clean the kitchen. It helps you to avoid resentment and anger while you're doing it, because we all know what happens when you feel like you're the only one doing all the housework, and you stand there and you mumble and complain, oh my goodness, nobody else does the dishes, nobody else is doing laundry, nobody else in the house is helping, nobody's doing their share, you're the only one. And you can start down a rabbit hole of pity party, which will lead to anger and resentment. And I've been there. I've been like, well, my husband comes home from work and doesn't do anything, so I'm not going to do anything either. And then you get tired of the mess. But sometimes that works, and your family gets tired of the mess too, and they all start to pitch in. But sometimes you'll find out you're the only one that cares about the mess. So you have to have a mindset shift. It helps you to avoid resentment and anger while you're doing it because, we already said that. Sometimes you just won't want to. Also, there are going to be times you just won't want to do it. I'm taking care of myself. I want to come into a bathroom that is relatively clean so that I feel like when I take a shower, it's a nice environment in which to take a shower. All right. We've all been there. Even if Well, maybe if you're super natural at getting it all done, which there are people that have immaculate houses and it's just done. And then there are others of us that have had to work at it a little bit. But you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Can really help so you can appreciate and instead of resent the process of doing all these tasks. And I really do believe that. Now, it's much more enjoyable to think of it as something that is helping yourself, or it's self-care, helping your children, a time to relax, reflect on listening to some fun music, or I say, I've gotten into listening to podcasts, watching YouTube, listening to your favorite praise and worship music. All of those makes managing your home, decluttering, organizing, cleaning, all those things that you want done but you don't enjoy doing, it makes it so much more enjoyable if you can listen to something that you wouldn't normally have time to listen to unless you were doing some type of task. Um, Let me just read that again. It is much more enjoyable to think of it as something that is helping yourself, helping your children, time to relax and reflect or listen to some fun music and do something a little bit more low key than to think of it as some kind of drudgery that I am required to do. Now, self-compassion is her number 7. I want you to treat yourself with self-compassion. We are human beings. We are not superhumans, right? I want you to treat yourself the way you would treat someone else. It's so important, especially with something like household management, because it's never going to be perfect. All right. Now that is, like I said, Taylor Flannery's 7 Mindsets of Household Management. And now I'm just going to go do a little review real quick so that you remember the points that she's trying to make. Takeaways. Your mindset is important because it influences how you think, feel, and behave in any given situation. There will be overlaps between several of these mindsets because when they are combined, they work their true magic. Some action steps are: assume a growth mindset. You are not a failure. You can learn and improve your skills in household management with some effort and practice. Seek progress, not perfection. Perfection isn't possible and will likely lead to overwhelm. Number 3, strive for things to be better than before. A little progress each day eventually adds up to big results. 4, understand that good enough is good enough. Once it's working well, move on to improve something else that isn't working well. Have a bias toward action. Don't overthink. Instead, act, do. 6, remember your why. It is better to appreciate instead of resent the process. Try to make it fun. Treat yourself with self-compassion. Treat yourself like you would treat someone else you love. All right. And again, where you can learn more. Household Management 101. Let's see. She runs a couple of different blogs. And so the bigger ones are Household Management 101 and Home Storage Solutions 101. So she has a blog. And that is where you can find more information about Tracy Flannery. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that podcast. I think, you guys hear so much about me and my organizing that I thought I would share tips from other people that talk about household management and organizing and mindsets and all of that, all of those things. And it'd be interesting to hear other people's take on it. And the thing about that is, the more I learn about other organizers and other people that blog and talk about all of these things, it also allows me to continue learning different ways to help different people, because what works for me or Tracy or some of the others that I've talked to you about, Abby and Slob Comes Clean, these techniques work for people like us. So I've got to keep learning so that everyone has something that resonates with them. All right, guys, thank you for listening to me, and I will see you on the next podcast. Give me thumbs ups, give me recommendations, share, and I will see you on the next podcast. Thank you.